Dear Bloomers! Hello! For those of you who are new, welcome to the Blossoming Journal. I talk about mental health awareness, I advocate for that, but I also do inculcate pop culture, trends, latest happenings, breaking news, because it does have a significant impact on our mental health, so that we can understand why they're happening and how are we reacting towards them and how does it affect us. Remember the Stanley Cup, or perhaps the Stanley Cup quencher? Do you remember there was a time when people was actually queuing outside of Target stores in certain parts of America? They were queuing there from like 2, 3 in the morning, and mind you, it's winter.
It's cold, like 40 degrees cold.
The videos of people just rushing in and basically trampling on top of each other was really scary.
The crowds got so bad that people were allegedly getting injured on their way to buy the cups.
I'd be more than happy to just stick to my Starbucks tumbler, but no, the Stanley Cup quencher was the thing to have. And so why are we now talking about this? Okay, well, as I said in my previous video, the same way a trend can grow overnight, it can also die overnight. And why do I say this? Because now people are rushing to throw away all of the Stanley Cups they've purchased. Yes, you heard me right. Throw away into rubbish bins and just basically just getting rid of all of the Stanley Cups they have. And you want to know why? Because Stanley Cups have lead.
Because Stanley just admitted they have a toxic metal in their cup. Videos have been going viral all over TikTok of people testing their Stanleys for the presence of lead, which is a toxic metal when consumed can cause serious damage. As lead poisoning is extremely dangerous, it can cause damage to the brain and nervous system, slowed growth and development, learning and behavior problems, and hearing and speech issues as well.
Whether it's of high quantity or not should not really matter, because lead is lead, and that's just poison. And the company itself has come up to admit that yes, we do have lead in our cups, but because of a small metal piece at the bottom of the cup, it kind of stops or sort of like protects the lead from flowing into your drink. But nonetheless, knowing that you are holding in your hand a substance that has lead in it, and when you're using this cup, it's either for extreme cold because you want it to be cold so there'll be ice, or it'll be for extreme hot because you're having a hot coffee or hot drink. So just think about these temperatures, which are quite, going off to the opposite ends of a scale, and then thinking about the lead that could possibly leak into your drink from your cup. The mere thought of that just completely horrifies me. Now, am I shocked? No. Am I confused? Absolutely. I mean, we have seen trends come and go all the time. And as quickly as the Stanley Cup quencher trend was just driving everybody crazy, like their retail value was $30, $40 or $50 depending on what size and what type, and they were reselling them for up to $200, $300, $400 US or for 300 pounds. And you had all sorts of additions, like there were some cups which were covered in rhinestones, and those were the ones that cost like hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds. And then you had special edition ones where you could customize and have your names and initials on them. So mothers are concerned because their children are using Stanley Cups. They are concerned for their own health as well. So everyone's just chunking them in the trash. Cups. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Rather be safe than sorry. And even if the company comes forth to reassure you, the fact that it has lead is more than enough reason to not want to use it anymore. So I'm now feeling really sorry for those who queued up in front of Target in the middle of winter at 2 in the morning just to get their Stanley Cups, only now to find out that they have lead and they're throwing them all away. I do really sympathize with these people because it's, you just feel ripped off, right? You feel ripped off, and you're not being ripped off by the company per se, because Stanley has been around for 100 years, literally. But because they were always marketed to construction workers because of its heavy build and its durability, and that it can keep your drinks either cold or warm for extended amount of time. So they had a different target audience. But now that it's being, in a way made available to consumers outside of the construction industry, that's where this trend just shot up. So it truly feels like you're being ripped off by the trend itself. Does that make sense? I don't know. I need to stop and ask, does that make sense? Does it make sense to feel ripped off by the trend and by this peer pressure and consumerism attitude to want to own the same cup or to want to be part of the flock of people who are owning this cup? Or are you going to feel betrayed by the company? I would feel betrayed by the entire thing altogether. I mean, first of all, they never clarified that their products had lead until now, because people are doing tests and coming back with the positive results. So the company had to come out and say, yes, it's true, we do. So before I was even able to finish editing my previous video on the Stanley Cup trend, I was already being bombarded with videos of people throwing away their Stanley Cups because of consisting lead. And I'm like, this trend literally happens faster than I'm able to edit and create videos. Moral of the story here is, don't follow trends, because first of all, it may not work for everyone. Secondly, try to do as much research as you can about a particular product. Basically, if we want to not be in these kinds of situations, is just to always be mindful of knowing what we are purchasing, why are we purchasing it, and what is the use that we're purchasing this thing for. Because if you're merely doing it for the sake that it's a trend, and for children in school, they need to fit in with their peers because their peers are having Stanley Cups. And there were multiple videos that came forward as well of moms talking about how their children were being bullied in school because they were not having the original Stanley Cup. They had just a regular tumbler, which may or may not look the same, but nonetheless, it was not a Stanley Cup. And their children are getting bullied in school because it's not a Stanley Cup. So you see, this whole trend created such a whirlwind. First of all, with this obsession of having to consume this product, and then the aftermath of having children being bullied in schools because of not owning the real original Stanley Cup, to now having them being thrown away into the trash because they contain lead. So now that I have finally finished editing my actual video, and now I'm coming to give you an update. So yeah, Stanley Cups are not a trend anymore, so don't bother. I will see you again very soon with another video. Take care. Bye.